right? Can see, everyone can see. If you can see, thumbs up. Okay. I know I am sharing. Okay, good. Now, we are here to talk about leveraging and understanding personality for less stress and a better work environment. Okay. How many of you stressed out already? Yesterday holiday, today stressed out already. Anyone? No. Don't be shy lah. If your superior is here, never mind. Secretly text me and go. Secretly text me and go. Yes, I'm stressed. I cannot raise hand because superior is here. Okay, so no worries here. No worries here. Everyone has stressed. I mean, I was a bit stressed out this morning because what happened was that a few things happened at work, so had to get it settled. Thankfully, all settled now. Okay, all had been assigned to someone to handle it. Now, we are here to talk about DISC, and let me just do a quick introduction and tell you how WKU, Western Kentucky University, is involved in all this. So, right, this is me. This is who I am. Right. In case you do not know, I'm a co-founder of ATCEN, and what I do is I'm a certified accountant. But for some of you have known me, right? Some of you here know I've got your names are familiar, right? You will know that I have not been so-called practicing my accountancy for some time, right? I'm not a practicing accountant, even though I do teach financial management occasionally. But what I do today is I do a lot of leadership programs and so on and so forth. I'm also a DISC profiler. I've been a DISC profiler for it's close to 20 years now. It's close to 20 years now. I would say next year should be the 20th year, right? That I've actually understood DISC. And it's been a learning process. It's been a learning process, right? I was introduced to DISC in sometime 2002. I'm older than you think I am. So those of you do think I'm in my late 30s, good for you, right? But I'm definitely older than that. And what happens down there is when I got introduced to DISC, I picked it up pretty fast and started using it a lot. But how is it benefit me is this thing, right? I actually look at people today and I very quickly analyze them. Okay, and this is something that I want to teach all of you, because DISC can be done in two formats. First format is, of course, you actually give them a piece of paper and get them to fill up a form, right? That's done, that's okay. But let's be honest here, we can't exactly approach all our staff, our clients, our manager, our bosses and say, boss, fill this up, let me know what you are, right? So let's talk about how do you just observe someone, right? And based on what they say, how they move, get an understanding of what is their personality type. Would you like to learn that? If you like to learn that, thumbs up. Yeah, right. So, but before that, since I've already reviewed to you DISC, okay, right? How many of you have heard of DISC? Right, Brenda has, okay, Varian has, Charlie has, okay, good. Joanne has, Kade has, okay, quite about I would say about 30 to 40%. Okay, good. So let me just do a little bit more, okay? But at the same time, okay, please go like my Facebook, right? Or like my LinkedIn, right? And what I've been doing over the last 20 years is I've been doing a lot of management development program. I've been doing a lot of management development program. And go to our website also, you will find that I do write articles as well. It's also on my LinkedIn. Okay, now, now, what this whole entire series, if you notice, we have come out and put together like 5 or 6 topics, okay, which will be done every single Friday. So every single Friday, please realize that I'll be here, I'll be doing some sharing. Why? It's because we are coming out with the whole entire, not say we're coming out, it's already been approved by WKU, Western Kentucky University. It's a certified program. What I'm doing is bits and pieces of this program I'm sharing with each and every single one of you. Like the certified business masterclass, talked about acumen, literacy, and strategic awareness. We also have things like certified performance manager, which is lead, manage, and develop for high performance. Okay, so that's what we are doing here with WKU. WKU is a university in the States. In case you do not know them, very simple, just type wku.com/edu. Sorry, wku.com.edu. Okay. Hey, sorry. It's wku.edu. What I'm talking about. There's no com. Right? Wku.edu. Right. That would be the university. Right. Trust me, I've been there. I've been to the university itself. Right. It's not a fly by night. Its campus is as big as University Malaya. Right. This is where the certification is coming from. And if you want to know a bit more about the certification process of what we are doing in this two program, please stay back and we'll explain a little bit more. But what I'm doing over the next 5 weeks is I'm taking excerpts, that means bits and pieces of whatever we are covering in this 2 program and sharing it with all of you. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. Now, ATCEN, we have been established in 2003, 100% Malaysian, and if you know us, we are HRDF certified, Class A, WKU. We've worked with WKU for the last 10 years, right? We are also ILM recognized, SME Malay Association recognized. We are their learning provider, CBMRA, and of course, we also do really English as well. Okay, just a few slides. People do ask me, what is ATCEN? Who is ATCEN? What do you do? Is it an acronym or what? It's an acronym. The acronym actually stands for this: A, training, capacity building, events, and network company. So exactly tells you what we do in terms of businesses. Okay, not going to emphasize too much on that. These are some of our management development programs, right? So as you can see, we have been doing business acumen and stuff like this for a long time, right? I covered DISC in a little bit in E2M. I also covered DISC a little bit in effectiveness. And today I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how it works. Okay. Now, and let's go. Okay. Now, half of you, about 30% of you to 40% of you have heard of DISC. So I'm going to share 3 key things with you. The first thing is, what is this thing called DISC? There are a lot of different personality assessments out there. Okay, I myself have gone through Myers-Briggs, sat down with a master of Myers-Briggs, and for the whole entire 8 hours, she was just psychoanalyzing me on Myers-Briggs. So familiar with Myers-Briggs, but I'm not certified to do it. Right. The other thing is, of course, I'm quite familiar with is Enneagram. I actually got Enneagram is quite interesting, but I always come back to DISC. Why? Because I found it easiest to look at a person and determine what kind of personality there is. So if you want to talk about all these other assessments out there, let me know. We can have a separate conversation, and I can also tell you why I like DISC. Now, if you got any question, please feel free, unmute yourself, just ask the question. Okay, I ask the question. Don't need to be shy about this. All of us are here to learn, right? All of us are here to gain more knowledge. So just ask the question. Okay. Now, the other thing is, if you do not want to ask the question, okay, type out. Okay, type in chat, whatever you want. Just type it in chat, right? And if I don't understand, I will call you out. If I understand it, I will immediately just answer. Everyone okay with that? Thumbs up. Right, good. Thank you very much, Joseph, Charlie. Right. Okay. Now, before I begin, okay, one more thing before I begin. Okay, how many of you have gone through DISC before? That means you've actually done the actual assessment. Anyone? Right? Anyone? Susan has, is it? Brenda, have you done it before?
Done,
yep.
but not
Joseph.
the full.
Okay.
The full thing.
Not the full thing. Okay. We won't be going through the full thing today because the full thing, it's gonna take some time. And the other thing is, it's better to get it online, because online they will give you a full detail of whatever. But what I'm here to do is to do the thing that the online analysis cannot do, is observing people so that we do what they need to do. Okay. Now, we are going to start to talk about DISC. Second, recognizing a person's personality, recognizing it. So literally, when you're listening to them or when you're observing them, you see. Okay. And last but not least, understanding the 4 personality types, understanding in more detail the 4 personality types. Okay, everyone ready to go? If you're ready to go, just put go, 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 go. All right, type go. So that I know that you are able to type as well. Your hands are working. Okay, your hands are working. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. A few more. All right. Thank you. Right. Let's go. Now. Right. Now, what stress you at work? Everyone, type what stress you at work? What stress you at work? What are the stresses that you have at work? Type what stress you at work? Anyone? Oh, Perrin thinking hard. Right. Come. Anyone? What stress you at work? Right. SOP. Hongju SOP. Brenda says SOP. Right. Workload. Yeah. Workload. Okay. Joseph says workload. Anyone else? Anyone else? You're at Ling, Kevin, HD, Shira, Carlin. Okay. Coco. Again, there's a Susan. There's a Coco. That's the top. Communication, managing communication, right? I would say in general, okay, if we look at stress at work, there are two different types. One is, of course, the task that needs to be done. The other one is the people-related factors. These are the two key stress that we have at work. I mean, you can divide it into two sections, right? How to get something done, how to get something done. Then the other thing is, I need to interact with this person to get the thing done. Not easy. Or this person is always preventing me from getting done. This person is withholding information. Me and this person tak ngam. You understand tak ngam kan? Somehow or rather, one look at the person look at you, you look at the person, you don't like each other already. Okay, now, and the person's behavior irritates you somehow or rather. This is what we mean by personality, right? What the person do, how the person act, how the person talk, right? Sometimes even the way the person thinks to a certain extent irritates you. Okay, and this is what we mean by having a bit of a personality clash, right? This is what we mean by having a bit of a personality clash. So personality, right, is something that is in all of us. Okay, it's not something that escapes. Now, some of you may ask, are we born with a certain personality? Right? Research has shown we are probably born with some of this personality type, and over time it may change a little bit. But once it gets to about 18 years of age, it tends to stay at in, it doesn't change much. Are we okay here so far? You get me, right? So it tends to stabilize. So you can see sometimes twins have two different personality. Okay, sometimes you see siblings have very different personalities. So all these are quite common. It's because it's something in us and we show it. We show it. Now, let's move a little bit to see why we want to understand personality. Very simple. People listen to people that they like. Betul tak? If I like you, I'm more likely to pay attention to you. If I don't like you, I'm less likely to pay attention to you. Make sense? Right? If I like you, I'm more likely to believe whatever you say. Okay? Right? If I like you, I'm more likely to do things, okay, for you. And of course, if I like you, I'm going to go one step further. If I don't like you, right, you want me to stay back for 5 minutes, also I don't want to stay back. If I like you, I will stay back for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, and if we really love you, 10 hours also no problem. Why? Because I'm in love with you. Are we okay here? Right? Now, what we want to do in terms of personality is, I'm not saying once you learn this, everyone will love you, but at least improve your likability factor by a few notches up. Okay, everyone, right? Right. Say, I like to be liked. Type, I like to be liked. I like to be liked. Or you don't like to be liked. Type, do you like to be liked? I like to be liked. Yeah, got it very fast. Oh, it's super fast. Yeah, I like to be liked. Everyone likes to be liked. Okay. Now, if you want to go opposite, by all means, you can type, I do not like to be liked. Or sometimes put it this way, I'm here to learn DISC to irritate other people. Now, trust me, do I do that? Yes, I do occasionally. Because once you understand DISC, you understand their personality, you also know what irritates them. Okay? So sometimes you just do things to irritate the other party. Please don't tell my wife. Please don't tell my wife. Okay, right. So she didn't hear. Right? I'm at home. I'm at home. Okay, so we'll go one step further. And this is exactly how it's done. Right? So what we are here to do is just to figure out how DISC work. Okay, DISC is one of the many personality assessments out there you need to understand. But however, it is also, for me, based on the research I've done, it is also one of the most comprehensive. What I mean by more comprehensive, it's been around since the 1930s. However, his history can be traced back a little bit further than that. And you actually see a lot of PhD papers written on DISC. right? A lot of the others down there, you don't see as many PhD papers written on. DISC had a whole bunch of PhD papers. Why I say PhD papers? Because PhD is supposed to come up with something new. So when you got a lot of PhD papers written on a particular area, what it means is people keep on looking into it, researching it, justifying it, and then extending the knowledge and the know-how of this particular area. Now, how many personality types are there in DISC? For those of you who have been, who have gone, done some DISC assessment before, how many personality types? Charlie says 4. Empat. Correct? Not? 4. Right? There are 4 types that we study, but in terms of combo, there's a lot of combination. You understand what I mean by combination? People with a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this. Okay. All right. On last count, I know there is about 50 odd combinations. Right? 50 odd combination. 4 main one, Joanna. Yep. Very good. Thank you very much, David. 4 main one, but there's a lot of combo. And sometimes you say, but the person not exactly like that. That's because he or she is a combo. I'm a combo. So it's a bit more difficult to figure me out. But if you know me enough, you will know which one I am, my main one. My main one is my primary. Today, I'm not going to talk too much about the combo. I'm just going to tell you there are combos. Majority of us have combos, David. Majority of us have combos. Many, very, very few people are just pure D, I, S, or C, because that is the 4 key. Now, let's go a little bit further. Okay. Now, what is this thing called personality? Personality is the combination of characteristics of an individual that forms an individual distinct character. Now, how does it work? Please don't think of personality as just the action. How DISC works is DISC is trying to figure out, based on the action, the thinking process of the individual or the feeling process of the individual. Okay, again, DISC looks at how I move, how I talk, how expressive I am. Then it goes backwards and says, okay, because of this movement, right? These are the things that this person say. This is how the person talks, whether it's monotonous or not. Okay, they are then trying to figure out how does this person think and also feel. Okay, it's different from what you call it, Myers-Briggs. In terms of Myers-Briggs, immediately come up with the thinking process. So that's why you have to take the assessment, right, to be very accurate. But DISC works in a reverse manner. So DISC initially, you can actually say that it's more, it can be used from a visualization perspective. That means I look at this person and I go, okay, based on how the person acts, talks, move, I will then have a basic understanding of who or what he or she is. And then I just double confirm. Are we okay here? You get me so far? Can, huh? Okay, now, the thing with DISC is this. It's a personality in a certain environment. Then you can look at that graph and go, hey, Jeremy, so we are not covering the full personality. Well, that's why if you really want a full test, you have to do the assessment. But for visualization perspective, this is what we want to do. Okay, now, let's move. How do we cover this? Very simple, very simple. There are 4 key DISC main personality type. Okay, now, please note, whatever you are, right, there is no good or bad. Please write this down before I go any further, because sometimes people tell me, oh, I'm like this, how come? Good, no good, can I become a leader? All of them can become leaders. Anyone can become a leader. Up to you whether you want to be. But however, their leadership style is likely to be different. Their leadership style is likely to be different. Okay, so can you type this down for me, right? Just for your knowledge, huh? Okay. Anybody can be a leader. Type. Anybody can be a leader. Okay. Anybody can be a leader. Right. Anybody can be a leader. There's no such thing as I'm a leader, you are not a leader. Okay. Anybody can be a leader. Number 1. Number 2. Okay. Number 2. Any strength. That means any strength. Any S. overuse becomes a weakness. Any strength overuse becomes a weakness. Type it down. Very important for you to remember that. Any strength overuse become a weakness. Right? Anyone? You got any idea what I mean by that? Okay. You got any idea what I mean by that? Right. Give you a very good example. Donald Trump overused his strength. It's now becoming a weakness. You get me? He overused it. If he did not cross that line, he is still a pretty likable person to many. The fact is he crossed that line. The strength is now becoming a weakness. You get me? What he's really good at is irritating people. You get me? This is what I mean. Any strength overused become a weakness. So when you learn DISC, never overuse your strength. If you know you are good, there is a limit to how far you can take it. The moment you overuse it, it becomes a weakness in the sense that it may even blind you. That means you don't see what you are doing. Okay, now, key thing. How do I, as an individual, look at a person and see whether a person is which category, whether they are D, dominant, I, influence, S, support, or C, compliant, okay, without any instrument, okay, just by observation and listening, right? I must admit, I'm more of a visual person, so my observation is slightly stronger, but sometimes what they say catches me and I go, okay, I get that, okay? Now, how I do it is, first, I see whether they are extroverted or introverted. Now, anyone, how does an extroverted person act in terms of behavior? Let's go. Right. How do they act in terms of behavior? What are some of the actions that you see? Outspoken. Okay. Now, not all extroverted are outspoken. Huh? Okay. But in general, yes. Joseph, let's go. Next. What else? Participative, as in what participative, as they would energetic. Yes, that's good. That's a good word to use. Energetic. They are general more faster. Okay, I go back to very common words. They use a lot of energy. You see that they use a lot of energy. Anything that uses a lot of energy, meaning they move faster, they wave. Okay, when you go and talk to them, they come to you first. So even from a distance, right? You see two strangers, you see who extend hand first. You get me? Who starts waving first? Right? Right. Joseph, if your kid want to learn, please go come ahead. I get my kids to learn DISC, though, but they don't quite get certain things, but it's okay, right? And then what happens is, right? What other thing? Okay. Some will say they instruct, some will say they're still sociable, right? You are seeing the DISC from a D or an I model already. What you need to see is, are they extroverted? Can they sit still? High energy people cannot sit still for too long. Agree? If they sit also, they need to fidget. It means they move around a little bit. You get me now? Second thing, high energy people don't like to do the same repetitious thing over and over again. Agree? They do not like to do the same repetitious thing over and over again. They always are seen to be just doing something faster. Faster as in, I just want to get it done. Okay? I would also say, right? They like to be, they don't mind being the attention. The attention. Some nice, some not necessarily nice, but they are the attention. You get me? Typically, the energy in the room gravitates towards that individual. So this is what you're looking for. Just because a person is outspoken doesn't mean he is always an extrovert. Because I know D sometimes don't make much noise. D sometimes don't make much noise. But there's a quiet sense of confidence in them. Now, what do I mean? All extroverts have this sense of confidence. You are looking for the sense of confidence. The sense of confidence may come out as very Oh, I'm here. Hi, everyone. I'm here. Good afternoon. You get me? Or the quiet sense of confidence, they come in, they sit down, they look at you. But the way they look at you, you know, this person is very solid in the sense that because they keep on making eye contact. The introvert will sit down and not make eye contact. The extrovert can sit down, especially the dominant one, will sit down and make eye contact. And you can be talking to them and they can what as though you are not there. That is usually signs of a dominant person just being quiet. You get me? Right? Happens a lot with senior people. So learn to look for that. They may not say much, but you come in, you see this quiet confidence individual, right? They don't seem as though they are hiding away, right? And that's what happens here. Okay, so please look for that. Now, but what I'm saying is usually there's high energy. Usually the energy gravitates to them. They are giving off energy, but they are also receiving energy from the people. You get me? Now, the opposite of the extrovert is the introvert. So what are some of the behaviors of introverts? Let's go. Introvert behaviors. What do you see for introverts? Type. Okay, shy. Are they quiet or shy? Quiet. They are more quiet. Shy means I don't want to talk to you. Quiet means, hello, I got better things to do than talk to you. Okay. Right now, passive. Yeah, they act slower. Everything is acting slower. They move slower. They walk slower. You get me? Right? They are okay being not the center of attraction. They are okay being not. That means I always tell people that very simple, right? When you go to a party, do you stay in the middle of the room and dance your night off, socialize in the middle, or you are the person who's at the corner down there? Right, at the corner down there, sometimes blending to the wall. You get me, so that's what we mean, the introvert and the extrovert. Introvert in general are more conservative in dressing. Why? So that I'm not seen as much, so that I blend in. Extrovert in general, right, may be a little bit more flashy, meaning that, hey, I want to be seen. You get me? So look at that. Trust me, sometimes now one look at the dressing, I got a rough idea where the person is already. Okay, it's because of certain things that they do in the way they dress, right? In the way they dress. Introverts will not wear certain things because they feel it is too bright, too flashy. Extrovert will wear it. Are we okay here? Can, Okay, now. So everyone here, I need you to type it down. Do you see yourself as an extrovert or an introvert? If you see yourself as an extrovert, type E. If you see yourself as an introvert, type I. 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 Okay, good. Everyone type. A few more, right? Evaluate yourself. E and I. Oh, you're very confused, Joseph. Which one is more prevalent for you? Joseph, E, right? EI, right? Which E? So that, yeah, you are coming. Your energy is coming more towards an E at the moment. Okay, E at the moment, right? Now notice his head movements is quite, his head moves quite a fair bit, right? So coming towards an E. I then E, okay, right? I and E. Now everyone, usually we will, for your common one, just pick one first. Okay, even though you may have a combo later, right? I know David says he has a combo, right? Even though you may have a combo later, don't worry. Which one is more prevalent? Because we normally go with our primary DISC profile. Okay, now, next, ask yourself, how does a task-oriented person look like and how does a people-oriented person look like? Okay, right? David, you are a trainer, right? I remember I've seen you somewhere before. You present, correct? Yeah, with maps, correct? Or do I have the wrong David? Sorry, I can't hear you.
I do training last time in MBank.
Okay, in MBank. All right. Okay. Right. Have we met before?
No.
No, all right, all right. I don't have that much. I mean, my partner Ken does a lot more work with MBank. I've only been doing MBank probably a few times only, right? Okay. Now, let's go with this task and people focus. Are we okay here? Task, huh? Right. Thanks, David. Right. Task and people focus. Now, how do you know whether a person is very task orientated? In general, what are you looking for? Anyone? Some of you have done it before, right? Recall, or knowledge already. You know it by fingertip. What are you looking for? Result. These people talk about results. These people talk more about what? Numbers. These people talk process. You get me? These people are a bit more structured, right? These people are a bit more structured. They will go things like, okay, first thing you need to do, second thing you need to do, then you need to do this, then you need to do this. You get me? There seems to be some structure, okay? Whereby if you are more people focused, they tend to go everywhere. It's like here, 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 and then they go back, they pushing, and pushing. You get me? Right? Now, what else? Facts, yes, more fact driven. The task people are more fact driven. The task people in general, please remember, they are able to draw a process better than a people focused individual. It's just more instinctive for them. Now, I'm not saying that they are better. They are more instinctive when it comes to drawing a process. So that means if you want to do a process map, a task-oriented people like a dominant or compliant will probably be more instinctive to them rather than an influence or support. The influence or support will always ask how to start. But the task people already started. You get me? Now, who do you think plan more? The task people or the people-focused people? Plan. Task. Right? Likely to do a bit more planning. Are we all right here, Ken? Do you get me? Now, so how do I look at these people? Okay, basically, as you have said, I'm looking at whether they talk numbers. I'm looking at whether they talk processes. I'm looking at whether they come across as serious, not very sociable, very transactional in the way they talk. I give you something, I will take something. You give me something, I need to give you back something. You get me? Now, in general, there's also something I noticed. Task-oriented people tend not to be as touchy-feely. Touch, you know touch? Hug? The high-five stuff? Which of your friend give you, oh, hey, come only high-five? Which of your friend like high-five also difficult to give? You get me? The task-oriented people don't give compliments as much. The task-oriented people, good job. That's it, right? Whereby the people-focused individuals tend to elaborate on the good job, pat you on the back, do the touchy-feely thing. Look out for that. People who like to touch a lot tend to be people-focused. Okay, people who don't touch much tend to be task-focused. Look out for that, right? Now, it is something quite common. The people who are task-focused tend to use the word thing. You should. The people who are more people-focused tend to use words like, I feel. How's your feeling? How is everybody feeling today? Right? Get me? The words that they use relate either here, task, or relate either here. If you want to make the clear distinction. Are we okay here? Right? People-focused individuals in general are more friendly. Task-focused people in general are colder. That's why I said it's very transactional. It's very transactional. Get me so far? Are we all right? Yes, nod your head or shake your head. Are you nodding or shaking? Okay. Goal focus, but Eric says may be viewed as heartless. Depends on how they go about doing it, right? Depends on how they go about doing it. But you must understand, okay? Sometimes we need this type of people in our environment or in wherever we are. You cannot have everyone nice to each other. Sometimes you need the person who is more goal focused so that they are a bit more heartless to certain people. But how hard? That becomes a problem, right? As I said, strength overuse becomes a weakness. Again, strength overuse becomes a weakness. And you need to remember strength overuse becomes a weakness. Are we okay here? Can? Now, let's move, okay? So you understand people and tasks, everybody? Can? So if you are extroverted and you're task-oriented, it means that you're dominant. If you are extroverted and you are people-focused, it means that you're influenced. Vice versa, if you are introvert, people-focused, you become steadiness or support. DISC, some people use the word steady, some people use the word support, right? And last but not least, they're introverted and task-focused, you become compliant or conscientious, okay? It's okay. Some people use the word conscientious, some people use the word compliant. Are we okay here? Ken? Now, this is the part whereby I need you to ask yourself again. Do you see yourself as dominant or do you see yourself as people focused? Okay, right? Is it a T or a P? Is it a task or is it people? If you're not sure, okay, it's time you start asking me some questions. If I can see you, even better. Right, difficult to answer. Why difficult to answer, Brenda?
I feel I'm both.
Okay. Actually, forget about work. Forget about the environment you're in. Think of yourself when you're most comfortable and when you are most, yourself. Okay.
Then it's people then.
Then it's, sorry?
People.
People. Then you're most likely people. Right. When you're confused, think about that. Always remember, when we are at work or we are in an uncomfortable environment or we feel we need to change, people tend to adapt. We are adaptive animals, okay, human beings. What happens here is when we feel the environment is not suitable for us and we are right, people focused, but we need to be more task, then it's quite logical that we will make that shift. But every time you are playing a role that you are not, it's always stressful. Again, I'm going to say this again, and you may want to type it down. It is stressful when I play a role I am not. It is stressful when I play a role I am not. Get me? It's stressful, right? You may want to type that in, okay? Stressful to play a role I am not. You get me? So what it means is this. If you're an introvert, but you need to keep on acting extroverted, it is stressful. I'm not saying you can't. You can. It's stressful. If you're task-focused and you need to be people-focused, it's stressful. If you're people-focused, you need to be task-focused, it's very stressful. Example. Which is why the biggest clash of personality usually happens when a dominant meet with a support, right? Or a compliant meet with an influence. You get me? Again, dominant meets support. Steadiness meets dominant. The relationship will still work. Trust me, because the dominant just eat up the steadiness person or the supportive person. But it doesn't mean the supportive person is happy. The supportive person is usually very unhappy. You get me?
Right.
Now, same thing. When the compliant person and the influence person, they are on the opposite side of the chart, meet one another, right? You will have a lot of cold shoulder one. The compliant person will not want to talk to the influent person very much. And the influent person, after a while, just gets fed up or they try harder, trying to get the compliant person to like them, right? Because they are very sociable. And the compliant person, the more the influent person does it, the more the compliant person go back and say, I don't like this person. You get me? This is what I mean by the personality clash. It is most obvious when it's opposite end. So a dominant and a supportive person, even though they can work together, the supportive person will never be comfortable in this environment, right? And the dominant person don't care enough to don't care enough lah, usually lah, don't care enough to even wonder why, because they just want their thing to move. As long as it's moving, who cares whether you like me or not if I'm a dominant individual. Compliant influence, right? The compliant person will always go, this influencer, talk only, where's the fact, where's the substance? No fact, no substance, right? Jumping from topic to topic, I can poke holes everywhere. Yeah, why you talk so much? Very good. Influent person, right? Now, the influent person will always say the compliant person sticks to the book. That's what Eric means by rigid. Sticks to the book, you are not moving, right? This also cannot, that also cannot. What's the point here, right? You must also remember, influenced people are super duper optimistic. Compliant people say that they are realistic when in actual fact, everyone else sees them as pessimistic. So the super optimist and the pessimist are talking together. What do you think happened? Tak ngam lah. Okay? Don't even sit down long enough to even chit chat. Right? Some of the time. Unless they learn to tolerate each other. Are we okay here so far? You're good? You get me, huh? Now, let's go. Okay. So since you have identified your extrovert, introvert, task, or people focus, very quickly type, are you D, I, S, or C? If you know you're a combo, just type more. If you're not sure, this is the first time you're doing it, just type, do you think you're D, I, S, or C? Go. Right. Hongju S, Charlie C. Right. Joanne CS. Okay, good. Anyone else? Anyone else? Right. CS, CS. SC, DI. SC. Okay. IS. Yep. Anyone else? SC. Yes. DCS. Ayo, got 3 combo. Some of you. Okay. Right. Irene. DI. Quite a few D's down here. Okay. Are we all right here? Can do. Okay. Right. Anyone else? Anyone else other than Irene? Right. Look at your chat box. Okay. Look at your chat box. Huh? Okay. Now let's move forward. Okay. Let's talk about the D. Very quickly, I'm just going to go through D. Brenda, any question? You got a question to ask? I know you said you were D, right?
No questions.
No question. Okay. Right. Brenda says yes. Okay. D. Always remember. Now, please note one thing. Do you think the D sees the world as positive? Now, I'm going back to psychology here, how they think, right? Or how they feel. Do you think the D sees the world as nice or it needs a lot of improvement? Anyone? The world needs a lot of improvement or it's nice? Once you get this psyche, then you understand how they think. Okay. Right. What's stated here? Right. Nice or improvement? Okay. Good. Right. They see that the world needs improvement. The world is not as good as they, I and DV, if I'm a D, look at it. The D is not, they always say the world is not up to my expectation. You get me? When they see the world as not up to their expectation. Now, do you think they feel strong or they feel okay lah? Or they think they are strong or they think they're okay lah? Which one? Strong. Then you will understand the motivating factor. The motivation is internal. A D does not need an external motivating to be there. Somehow or rather, they were born with that motivation. Why? I see the world as, needs so much improvement. It's not up to my expectation. Whatever the expectation is. And please remember, their expectation may not be your expectation. Okay? All right? What they want may not be what you want. And that sometimes is the problem with these. Right? What they want is not what everyone wants. So they see the world as not up to expectation. They feel strong. So what they do is they go out and they do whatever they need to do to win at all costs, to get whatever they need to be done. And it's never done one because they always see the world as not good enough. When I reach one milestone, I see another milestone. When I reach the next milestone, I see another milestone. It's like tak cukup punya. You get me? So this is something that you will see in a lot of D. The more D they are, right? The more D they are, the more they become like that. Okay, right. I'm not sure what Irene is talking about. Wow, now IK. After IK. What's IK? Okay, so big thing. But please remember, the D is a laser focused person, meaning they got a few lasers and all they see are these points. Sometimes the D only have one laser and they point toward that direction and that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do. Anything out of the laser, okay? Anything out, they don't want to be bothered. That's why they can say yes and no to so many things so quickly. Of course, Brenda, they are always very impatient because their aim is to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. Even if I need to go under, over, break a leg to get from A to B. I always tell people, pure D leaders, the very pure D one, the hardcore one, would get to the finishing line, look around, and if they are still the only person standing, they will continue from the finishing line. That means they'll continue moving forward. Why? Because in their mind, it's very simple. You either can keep up or you cannot. If you cannot, so be it. I'm going. In that sense, you will see that one of the key things with the D is their strength, very independent. A D can change teams all the time. Today this team, tomorrow that team, next day another person, and they don't care one. Why? Because they're just laser focused and they believe in themselves. Always remember, to gain the trust of a D, you need to do a lot of work. Why? Because they believe in themselves more than anyone else. Everyone else, right? Okay, mind my language here. Mind my language here. I was just using this language at certain people a few days ago. I will always say, as far as the D is concerned, there are two types of people in the world: the human being or the cockroach. Okay, so you're either seen as a fellow human being or you're seen as a cockroach. You will become a fellow human being. Great. They respect you, but they'll still argue with you all the time. They will still argue because they like to argue. They like the challenge. And please remember, when they argue, no hard feelings. They can be very blunt. They can be very direct. And after that, they can say, okay, come, let's go for dinner. And they continue with the argument during dinner. They can do that. They can do that. You get me? Why? Remember, the way a D thinks is everything is compartmentalized. Again, D thinking is everything is compartmentalized. It's like a filing cabinet. At home, whatever happens at home is in one drawer. Whatever happens at work is in one drawer. Relationship with someone is in one drawer. They open one drawer at the time. Are we okay here? You get me? That's how they think. That's how they work. Okay, that's how they think. That's how they work. They don't like the details. So remember a few things. Very laser focused individual. Always very impatient. If you work for them or they are the boss, be rest assured they are gonna go. You ask them, when is it supposed to be done? Where's the deadline? They will tell, look at you now. The worst I've heard, yesterday. They tell you to do something today, but they told you it's supposed to be due yesterday. Why? They look at you and say, don't you should know this one. And everyone is scratching their head saying, this is the first time I've ever heard about this. Okay. So that is who they are. They like to challenge, they will fight. Key thing here, one weakness that they have no problem using fear. So their motivating factor to many people sometimes is, you scared of me, good. You don't like me, no problem. I just need you to do one thing, get the fucking job done. Make sense? Mind my language, but that's how they are. That's what they think. Are we okay? Now, please, no, not all these are like that. Okay? Not all these are like that, right? Some have learned to tone down. But the real hardcore ones will always think like that. And that's why they may not have many friends. And people don't like working with them. Meaning they are not a likable personality. You get me? Are we all right here? Now, please, if you are D, I'm not saying you're not a likable personality. I'm saying when you act all D all the time, the personality becomes very unlikable. But some people will love you because you get the job done. However, that doesn't mean that they want to be with you all the time. Please do not get it wrong. One person can get the job done, but it's not likable. Agree, no? Everyone agree? Right? But understand this, the D is a loner anyway. They are okay being alone. They are okay being alone. They don't have an issue. The reason why they want people is people get the job done for them. For them. More people to instruct to do the work. Okay, Ken? Right, any questions here? Any questions here? Are we okay? You got questions? Start asking, huh? Start asking, huh? Can do? Right. Okay, good, huh? Now, let's move. Let's move. Huh? Right. Who is the I? I, again, how do they see the world? Which one? Everyone, thumb movement. Charlie, which one do you think? Up or down? How do they see the world? Up. Very good. Right? To them, the world is fantastic. The world is beautiful. The world is just as nice as it can be. Now, how do they feel or think? They feel strong or they feel okay lah? What do you think, Charlie? Strong, yeah, I like him, just one arm, okay? Strong. That's why they are super optimistic, you see? That's why they are super duper optimistic. Everything also can one, no problem one. Remember, the D is given one gift. The I's gift is laser focus. The D's gift is the ability to just talk. Okay, they are very good with the verbal aspect of it. Verbal as in they talk a lot, right? Because talk is the way of influencing people. Talk is the way of getting things done, and they are very, very what you call it, open with their laughter. They have this contagious energy that if you go and be with them, sooner or later you need to start laughing one. You get me? So even though you may not like them very much sometimes, you get entertained because they are there. I is very, very high energy, and the energy is contagious. It will spread. If there's no I in a party, don't go. The party is going to be a boring one. Trust me. If there's an I in a party, great. If you got 2 or 3 I in a party, it's going to be crazy. You get me? Right? So that is how you gauge whether the parties can go or don't go. Right? So recognition. They love recognition. They love to be seen as different from the rest. They love all this fun stuff. Right? Which is also a problem. Energy comes, energy disappears. Meaning, excited, when it becomes very monotonous, they start to look elsewhere. Which is why they are not very good when it comes to doing work, right? when it comes to doing work that is repeated, monotonous. Okay, I see the world as opportunity which they take active action to sell who they are. Yeah, they see it. Every time it's an opportunity to sell, right? I always say this about the I. Convince you or confuse you, either way they win. Convince you or confuse you through the talking, either way they win. Okay, are we okay here? So don't be taken in, right? Don't be taken in because of their ability to verbalize. I always say they are very good storytellers, and their storytelling comes with special effects, unlike the rest. They really know how to tell a story. They really know how to tell a joke. The other thing that you understand with an I has no issue making themselves look like a fool, okay, to get what they want or to move ahead or just to make you laugh. Remember, the person who is willing to make themselves a fool, that means everyone laugh at them and they also laugh together. You know, high chance this person is a high I. You get me? Because the rest will be too shy to do it. Again, the person who makes himself the fool or herself the fool, everyone laugh and they also laugh, right? Is most likely an I. Because the rest are too shy to do it. And when they shy, what do you mean? Even if they do it, you can see their whole, no, they don't know where to hide their face. Remember, I punya muka is very thick one. They have no issue hiding one. Meaning, you know, if you laugh at me, I will still go back to you and say, wow, funny, right? That joke. Nice, right? Aiyo. You get me, no? So no problem. They will talk about it. Why? Because you are giving them attention. Understand? Clear? Okay. Now, they are a promoter. As seen down there, the strength is a promoter, right, Eric? Right? And weaknesses is they can be very disorganized in their thoughts. If they are your superior, superiors have a habit of today say one thing, tomorrow even forget what they said and say another thing. So you need to always ask them which one you want. That is one of the key things. They are not very attentive to details. They're not very attentive to details. So you always need to bring them back to point. But the good thing is they are fantastic networkers. They can network with anyone. Everyone, whenever you need to talk to a stranger, you need to think what to say, who to say, how do I approach this person. The I, no problem. You just go up to the person and 30 seconds later, voila, the magic happens. How they do it, very difficult to say. You ask them how you do it, they say go up there and talk only. Talk what? Talk only. Talk what? Talk only. That's how they do it. They just don't know, they just verbalize and boom. It's because you must understand they've got a very thick face. So if a person slap them back after they say something, they will still continue. You get me? Power, thick face, that's why can be very good promoters, can be very good at selling. You slap them 5 times, they will still come back. Are we okay? Ken? Any question? Ask, huh? Hangat tahi ayam. Yes. Okay. Now, S. Psyche. World beautiful or not? World optimistic or not? What do you think? Okay. How many of you say up? How many of you say down? They see the world as up or they see the world as down? Okay. So far. Okay, good. They see the world as up. The world is actually beautiful. Get me? How do they see themselves? Strong or okay lah? Strong or okay lah? Okay lah. You get me? That's why they hold back. That's why they are willing to support the individual whom they think will be able to make it. They have no issue playing second. Again, because they are not there to lead. They don't like to lead from the front. They are leading from the back. Again, there are many leaders who are like that. However, you're not going to hear much about them because they don't publish book and autobiography of themselves when they're only 30 years old. And they don't like all this autobiography stuff. The way they work is this. Okay, please understand their superpower. Their superpower is something called moving or pace. They just keep on moving. They just keep on moving. Meaning, if they are supposed to go from A to Z, A to B, a certain direction, they will just keep on moving no matter how boring it becomes. Because they have this very high sense of responsibility to whatever the team had promised to do. Okay, sees the world, needs support, which they can take passive reaction to perceive others as need. Yeah, I mean they do see the world as see the world need. Yeah, because that's why they say, because they take a secondary role, so they will support whoever they feel they should be able to support. You get me? Because the world is a good place. And remember the word pace. They are there moving along, and they will keep on moving, even when everyone has gotten tired. That's why we always say the S is a very good finisher. They finish whatever, right? They are very good at finishing, but very bad at starting. They are not starters, they are finishers. They finish the race. Never believe in D when they say it's finished. Trust me, D got to the destination, but there's still a lot of unfinished work. You get me? D got to the destination. However, there's still a lot of unfinished work. Usually who finishes? The S finishes quietly a few months later, because the S will not bring attention to themselves. It is part of the team. It is part of the team, right? The S sees themselves as the team. The S does not go with the word I. The S goes with the word we, us. You get me? So in a certain way, the supportive nature can become very self-sacrificing in certain ways. So please take note. S bosses are great bosses to work with, okay? Because they will always support you, right? But if you are an S boss, I always say, please take note, don't take too much of your people's work. They need to do the work themselves. Again, if you're an S boss, right, please remember, delegate and make sure they finish the work. Don't delegate and take back the work. Okay, they are very famous for doing that. Delegate and then take back the work when the people cannot finish. Okay, this is S. Now, nobody have issues working with S, but there is one big thing that they do have. Okay, they keep to themselves a lot of their feelings. For a person who is very emotionally driven by others, they definitely suppress their emotions extremely well. Or they think it well, but sometimes it irritates a lot of the other people around them. Okay? S don't talk much, they listen. So how do you spot them out? They listen. D does not listen. D may act as though they are listening, but you look carefully in their eyes, you will see that they are wandering off somewhere. Okay? C is analyzing. They are not listening. The S listens. The I can't wait to talk. But the S is the one that really listens. So I will always say the S has the highest EQ when it comes to other people. But when it comes to themselves, it could be a lot better. You get me? Are we all right here so far? You get me? All right, now, please ask questions. So their weakness, they can become very indecisive, complacent, sensitive to criticism. Right. One key thing with S, which I find quite irritating. Okay, this is me. Whenever I'm working with S's, I can say this because I've got S profile inside my profile anyway. Right. They are very sensitive to criticism. Meaning, sometimes when you criticize a process, The S may see that since you're criticizing that process, I'm working on that process, you're criticizing me. You get me? They are very sensitive to this kind of criticism. So be very careful when you criticize something, right? Because they always take it personal. They always take it personal. Okay. The more high S they are, the more personal it becomes. Pure S's are very personal when it comes to criticism. So you need to prepare and you need to make sure they are going to listen first. Now, last but not least, right? Let's go with the C. Okay. Everyone, C sees the world as what? Up or down? Charlie, what do you think? Joseph, what do you think? Down, up, down, up. Bit confused here. Charlie's right, man. Down. They see the world as down. Meaning, not very good. That's why pessimistic, ma. You get me? Yet they also don't feel very strong. So all the introverts don't feel strong one. They feel okay lah. Like macam like energy tak cukup, no? Not enough energy. Whereby the extrovert is like, wow, I got so much energy. I got so much energy. The introverts in general, like energy is not enough lah. All the task-oriented person feels that, hey, the world got things to do lah. It's not up there yet. Right? Not up there yet. So that's why you see they're very task-orientated one. You get me? Whereby if you look at the people-focused individual, the world is beautiful. Sit down, enjoy. You get me? That is how they see the world. Okay, not that they enjoy, but in general, when it comes to doing things, it's a bit slower lah. The S, the I and the S, when it comes to doing things in general, it's a bit slower, right? Whereby the D and the C, when it comes to doing things, it's a bit faster. Now, please note, slower doesn't mean bad. I didn't say it's bad. It's just in general a little bit slower to get the things done. You get me? But however, there are always exceptions to the case, like S. There are various exceptions, which I won't go into, but there are various exceptions. Now, so Eric says, sees the world as trouble, but take passive reaction to avoid trouble. I like the way you're putting this down. They see the world as not very good. It's a lot of issues, a lot of trouble. Yet, they are hesitant to take a lot of action. Why? Because they don't feel strong. So what do? They follow the policies. They follow the processes. The problem with the C is they follow the processes and they like to do this. Analyze till they become paralyzed. Analysis to paralysis. You see this weakness I wrote down here? Some C's like to analyze so much that they become paralyzed by the analysis. They don't know what to do. Now, you must understand, I laser focus. Sorry, D laser focus. I give of the gap. Okay, you get me? Right? S, I can. Slowly but surely, I'm gonna get there. Right? C, what does the C have? Okay, what does the C have? Tommy, I'll answer that in a moment. Right? What does the C have? Very simple. The C is able to see both sides of the coin. Whenever you tell a C, don't do something, their brain is going, why not? And they'll start thinking how to do it. When you talk to the C, we should do this. The C will then think why we should not be doing it. You see, they see both sides of the coin at the same time. Okay, that is what they are good at. But the problem is because they see both sides at the same time, their action become very slow. D, laser focus, just need to see one, give me one good reason. Okay, not one good. Give me a reason why we should do it. Bam, they will carry it forward. You get me? Right? The C will go, give me 10 reasons why we should do it. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why we should not do it. And then we got debate and deliberate it over the next 5 days. You get me? Then we make a decision. However, in general, statistics has shown C makes better decision. However, be ready to wait for a decision. So if your boss is a C, be rest assured, if the decision needs to be taken at 5 o'clock, deadline is 5 o'clock tomorrow, it will only be on your table at about maybe 5 o'clock tomorrow. It will take their time. So learn to work with a Z. Don't always give them deadline until like that. Okay, right. So all these needs to be there, right? Are we okay here? Ken? Now that's a C. They are very logical people, step-by-step logical people, step-by-step analysis. Okay, they like to analyze. At the same time, they don't like to be wrong. C doesn't like conflict one. C doesn't like conflict because sometimes when conflict happens, they go, the person saying that got point of view also ma. So why fight over it? You get me? Why? Because they see both sides of the coin. They see the argument and the counter argument. That's their problem. That's what makes them go, actually both also got point. So which is right? Both also can be right in certain circumstances. So in these circumstances, well, we need to analyze these circumstances a little bit more before we come up with a decision. You get me? That is the way they think, right? That is very irritating to people. They are the more detail orientated. And one other thing I'd just like to say, I mean, if you know, you can ask questions later. They love to write. Black and white is their go-to, meaning every time they do something, they like it to be black and white. So if you're working with a C, be careful. Remember, talk is cheap. Black and white is what they want. They need to see the black and white. They want the black and white because black and white is stamp chop. Are we okay here? Ken? No, right? As I mentioned, I'll only take about 90 minutes for this. Okay. I'm just going to share a little bit more. My last slide. Okay. Before that, after that, you just go in Q&A. You know, whatever questions you have, right? And see what happens here. What's a weird thing? Okay, what your DIC mean? Profile mean? Okay. Now, what your DIC profile mean? Okay. Now, this is what I mean by combo. I'm only showing you 2 combos. I'm not even showing you the very, very major I mean, the very distinct. Some of you like got 3 combos lah and this thing. Now, please don't do this. Just because you got 3 combo means that you're better than someone with 1 combo. It just, no, it does not. It just means that your personality type is different from that one, and that's it. Okay, right? Doesn't mean anything. It just means that your personality type is different from the person with 1. Okay, now a quick one. Before we go into Q&A, just to let you see leadership. Okay, which leader reminds you of which D leader out there can you think of? Someone famous. Just to show you that all leadership style. D, who's the D leader? Donald Trump, right? Mahathir. Yeah, Mahathir is more of a D leader. Okay, not pure D, but DC lah. Right? Who's an I leader? Who do you think is an I leader? Talks a lot, love it. Okay. Najib. Najib a bit difficult lah. No lah, I don't think Najib is an I lah. The wife comes off more of an I than Najib. Najib comes across more as an S. SI lah. Oprah. Oprah is an I leader, yes. Anwar, I know lah. Not flashy enough. Not flashy enough. Right? Obama, right? Irene, Obama. If you read Obama's autobiography, I actually read it a few years back. He is not an I. He's a I pretend. He's pretending to be an I, but he's not an I. He's actually a C. Believe it or not, he's actually a C. But he comes across as the thing. His laugh and his gestures, you know, thing he has learned. Now, there is a very good TED talk, how introverts can become more extroverted, something like that, on TED talk. Catch it. For those of you who are introverts, you will find that it's actually easier for introverts to become extroverts than extroverts to become introverts. Again, for those of you who are introverts, Okay, it is easier for you to become an extrovert. That means to learn the behaviors of an extrovert than for an extrovert to learn the behaviors of an introvert. And statistically, this has been shown. It's easier for introvert to learn behaviors of extrovert rather than extrovert become an introvert. Okay, selective extrovert. Well, there are a lot of people are because they feel sometimes it's easier to do certain things. Okay, right now, please, just because you're introvert acting to become an extrovert don't mean that you lose all your introvert ability. Okay, you don't, right? And trust me, it is not always nice. It can be pretty stressful. Now, let's go back. Right? Donald Trump comes across as more I, but I would say his personality type is an ID. This would be more him, an ID. You get me? High I would say Boris Johnson, you know, the PM for UK at the moment. He comes across as a pretty high I, right? His eye is not the one that is stylish, nice. No, his eye is I don't give a damn kind of eye, right? So that is the kind of eye he has. So that is one. Now, S. Anyone S? Well, Eric, better be careful. No? Some people will whack you, no, because you say Donald Trump idiot. A lot of don't know. Make America great again. I remember I put a comment. I put a comment on Facebook last quite some time back during the elections, right? And I made a simple comment. I was referring Donald Trump to something. I can't remember what it was. Wow, the feedback from there was crazy. It went around the world and people were just attacking me for it. And I'm like, hello, I'm not only referring. I asked them, what do you know about Malaysian politics and Singapore politics? Right? Right. So what else? S. Badawi was an S. You get me? Right? Ismail Sabri is coming across as an S. I don't know him enough, but he's coming across as an S. Right? So you know, Muhyiddin is not an S. Muhyiddin comes out as a C. Right? You didn't notice Badawi at all. Badawi, now please remember, some of the best business people are S. I will tell people like Ananda Krishnan, Astro. Do you know whether he's in Malaysia? Do you know anything about his family? Right? Syed Barakbah, PTP Pop. Okay, Al Bukhari Foundation. Dato Vida is the opposite lah, the high I lah. Everything also tell the world right? Sometimes I don't know whether she's joking or she's not. No, now she's marrying someone who is 20 years younger. Is it something like that? Anything for some publicity. This is what I mean, right? It is very their ability to take that abuse from everyone is very high on, because they have a very high they see themselves as very high. The world is beautiful, I'm strong, what can go wrong? You get me? The world is beautiful, I'm strong, what can go wrong? The C is, right, the world is not very nice, I don't feel very strong, everything can go wrong, so everything don't do first. We wait and we see. So you understand the psyche behind this. Once you understand that psyche behind it, you will see that things move. Okay. Now, C bosses, there are a lot of C people, right? Your Warren Buffett writes his letter every single year. You get me? Your Bill Gates, C. Mark Zuckerberg is coming off as a C. You get me? So we must understand, right? All these people are different. The people who like Trump, who put their company's name at their name, very obvious. I. Get me? Very obvious ion. Right? So, right, just giving you a gist of what we cover in some of these areas. Now, let's go back to a question. I know someone actually made a mention. Tommy, is it? Tommy, you made a comment, right? Hold on. You made a comment, and yeah, what is good for a company management team according to DISC? It depends. Then Eric also responded. It will depend on what its stage of the company, where consolidating, growth, expanding, innovation, embarking on, blah, 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 right? Certification example. Yep. Tommy, there is no such thing as a good ratio. Let's be frank here. My thing has always been, what is the missing element? If you go to a marketing organization, a creative agency per se, the likelihood of finding C's down there, yeah, limited to the accounting department. You get me? Because it's a very creative industry, right? You will see a lot of high I's, you see S's down there, right? You will see D's down there, but you won't find many C's. I go to an engineering firm, you will likely see a lot of C's and S's in management. Occasional D, I hardly any. You get me? I go to a law firm and they do conveyancing, a lot of conveyancing, a lot of document details, sales and purchase agreement. You are likely to see more C's and S's. You go to a lawyer who is always going to court, arguing against the judge for a defendant or against the prosecutor. The likelihood is you will see a lot of D's and I's. Okay, so my key thing is each company itself would already have certain types of people there, because certain types of people are drawn towards certain industries. You get me? Right? And because the organization already has that, my critical thing is when I go in, I will always ask, what's the missing element here? You know how engineering firms are. Very low in terms of EQ. It's all very process driven. You may want someone with higher EQ coming in, people oriented, to weigh off the factor. Okay. I once went into a this IT consulting firm. Okay, their bosses were all C's. Were all D's. That's why I found out the second level were always so stressed out. The moment I met them, I'm like, how come this group of people so stressed out? Because I never got to meet the three bosses, right? But then the moment I started with DISC, I said that, my God, okay, all your bosses are D. Every single one of them is a D. That's why every second line is so stressed out. Okay, it's so stressed out. They are always saying, first they argue, the three of them argue. But then they also don't understand how come the company had been moving on for so long when this tree argues like mad people. Okay, but then after they argue, they can still go back and have dinner with each other, have lunch with each other, and continue the argument. All they see, the second line reporting to them is all they see is argument. But the company had been in existence for a very long time. Okay? Because that's the way they act. That's the way they are. And everything is very stressful. And that's the way they work. So I told them the key thing here is you don't have any I. You don't have someone who can argue and then make a joke out of it. You get me? It releases the tension. It releases the tension. Are we all right here, Ken? Now, anyone, other question? So it really depends. Huh? It really, really depends on what's happening in that organization and what they want to do. Okay. Everyone has the potential to become a leader. I told you that one. Okay. When you overuse your strength, it becomes a weakness. When you overuse your strength, it becomes a weakness. Please remember that, right? Very, very important that we remember that. People sometimes go, oh, I want to do more and more of this. No, when you overuse your strength, it becomes a weakness, right? And that's what happens. No. Anyone else? Come, let's go. Questions? Any questions? Any questions? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Ask, type. Brenda, they will adapt, but the core will not change. Brenda's question is, does a person's DISC change with time? They will adapt, but the core will not change. Meaning, if you do the actual DISC assessment, 3 results will come out. When you do the actual DISC assessment, 3 results will come out. First is your core, who you are really. Second one is, what are you showing people in that place you are in at the moment, usually work related. Okay, so if your work related and your core is the same, you are in an environment which is very less stressed out as far as you're concerned. That means whatever you're doing, you don't get very stressed out because it's exactly how your environment would fit. third thing. The third thing will show how you are when you're stressed. How you are when you're stressed. So when you say the person DIT changed, it's probably changing with the environment, right? To be exact, if you want an exact figure, the percentage came back at 83.6%, that it will not change, right? This was one stat I read. I remember that stat very well, 86.3%. So tells you exactly who I am, in case you have not gotten it by now. Okay. Are we okay here? Ken? Right. So any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Right. Now, don't be shy to ask. Don't be shy to ask. Right. Anyone? Right. Liven, HT, Anne, okay, Kevin, Kade, Hongju, Yatling, anything? Irene, Tommy, David, yes. Hello, David, are you there? No, okay. Right. Maybe if a person go through a caterpillar, the call may change. Yes, I would say that is exception to the case. Right. Call meaning very drastic lah. You need it to be a very drastic event. Okay, life changing to a certain extent, the call may change. But the key thing here, it must be drastic, and the event should be somewhat permanent. Example, I lost a leg, I lost an arm. Okay, someone very dear to me passed away, and bam, the whole entire situation just changed. And that change, it means the environment should change drastically as well. Right. Sound like speaker is a DC person. I marvel. Tommy, no, I'm not a DC person. I have D and I have C, but I'm not a DC person. A DC person would be an implementer. A DC person is an implementer. Right. Mahade is a DC. Mahade is an implementer. Okay. He thinks of it, he goes at it fast. That means he does the thing fast. Okay. Now, Cat, if the leader then how to handle his subordinate with D, I, S, or C. Okay. Cat, good question. Very good question. Okay. Which one you want first, D, I, S, or C? Right? It's all different. No? It's all different. Okay. Now, with the D, I would say if the person is now, please do not get confidence equal competence. Can you please type this down? Confidence is not competence. Okay, confidence is not competence. Sometimes a D and an I comes across as very confident. It doesn't mean that they are competent, right? Don't get caught. Don't get caught, right? So if the D is competent and confident, okay, hey, as an S, use it to your ability. Get the person to take the lead. But please remember, you need to know how to pull the horse back if you need to pull the horse back. Meaning, you need to build relationship with the D in such a way that you know what makes them tick and use it. I have seen S bosses do that very well. I used to work for an S boss in a big company. Okay, let me put it this way. The MD is an S. The MD is an S. Okay, till today, it's still an S. Very quiet, low profile person. Okay, right. But the people all reporting to him were all D's and I's. Really, a whole bunch of D and I. And not only that, there were 3 British, 1 American, 1 Australian, and like 2 local Malaysian reporting to this Malaysian S. The few below him fight like crazy, meaning they had arguments among themselves, they everything. I never got, for more than 6 months, I never understood how this MD is able to control all of them, because in the meeting, it sounds like a madhouse. Every time we go for a meeting, management meeting is a madhouse. They're just arguing. But then one day I started noticing something. He approaches every one of them individually after the meeting and before the meeting. It's his approach, the individual thing, the one-on-one, as your ability is one-on-one, not one to many, one-on-one. When you start letting go and go, don't care, I just need to approach this person one-on-one, that is where you start building that trust factor with them, and that's where they get you and you will get them. Are we okay here? So one-on-one, one-on-one. Okay, so you need to figure out what is taking a D, what takes an I, and what takes a C. C and S, not so much issue. C and I and S also not so much issue. Okay, right? But just remember, if you are an S, don't goyang. Don't goyang, ah. Okay, as long as you don't goyang, you stick to it, you should be fine. It's when you start moving, then that becomes a problem. So most S boss I know don't move. Learn not to move too much. Learn not to give in too much, and that's the main thing. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Kat. Yes. Go one-on-one. That is the S ability. That means you talk to the person in a one-on-one basis. Now, I'm not saying go one-on-one confrontation, on a one-on-one basis. Get me? Right. Right. D to look for partner. Eric looking for partner. Eric looking for a partner. I don't know. Because love is blind. Of course, love is blind. Until it becomes unblind, then they suddenly realize they are together with a D. But in general, D and S, they do get the work done. But D will never have, in general, don't have too good relationship with most people. I'm answering to Irene. Irene, what Irene looking for? Hey everyone, Irene looking for someone. Okay, all right, let's go. Anything else? Anything else? Anyone else? Come. All right. Anyone else? What if the leader? What if his subordinate don't agree with the leader after talk one-on-one? Right, Catherine. My thing is this: who is in the position of power here? The leader or the subordinate? Then whether you want to take a position of power, you get me? Yeah, so that the leader want to stand down or not. Now, no matter what, the introverts need to learn one thing. If you are in a position of power, your decision is final. Your decision is final. I do this a lot in one of my workshops called Speak Up. Right, and usually for some reason, all the speak up, majority of people down there are all S and C's. Okay, so I always tell them one thing: that the reason why a position of power was given. That's the reason why there's a hierarchy. If this is the leader, it's up to a leader to just put his foot down and go no. You get me? Always remember, I's and D's will test the water. D will always push the boundary because D does not like to work within the boundary. They find it very restrictive. S will try to wiggle their way out. You get me? It is really up to anyone managing them to go, no, you have crossed the line. And we must learn to have those conversations. Okay? Quite common one. I'm quite sure, Kat, if you have your kids also, your kids won't agree with you all the time, right? Both my kids starting to disagree with a lot of what me and my wife say. Normal. They're at that age, they will disagree. And I want them to disagree to a certain extent. Okay. What else? It tells me that they have a brain. They have a brain. Anything else? Are we okay? Ken? Everyone okay? Right. I will still give you, if you're fine, okay. Let me show you this. Just for you to know, right? This is part of the thing in the particular program that we are running, right? Where I'm taking this off is 35 performance management manager program. Okay, this is one of the excerpts that we are taking from there, right? Okay. The other thing that I'm running in the very near future is certified business masterclass. You will see some of this in the near future. Or we talk about business acumen, financial literacy, and also strategic awareness. Now, strategic awareness is not strategic planning. People always get it confused. They ask me, it's the same. It's not the same. The awareness comes before the planning. Okay, so let me go back here. Right, this is just next week. I'm going to talk about trust, building trust in your team, the 5 pointers. Okay, how to build trust in your team. Example, right? One key area of trust is always competency, meaning the team doesn't trust you because they don't see you as competent in a certain area. Agree? So how do you build that competency, right? Sorry, it's on some kind of this thing, right? Then we are on the 1st of October, we're gonna go stop going in circle, more strategic acumen for the organization's future, right? I do quite a lot of strategic planning for companies, right? Big and small, right? And what happens here is a lot of times, a lot of people say, hey, how come I keep on coming back to the same old plan? My issue is you're coming back to the same old plan because your strategic awareness is poor, right? You're not seeing the things that will affect, and you're not recognizing the things that will affect your business. Okay. Sorry, it's on some kind of an auto run. Build more corporate entrepreneurs for thinking and doing organization. This is where we go in the strategic business masterclass. How corporate entrepreneurship is different from just being a manager. You will see the differences. So I will share a few slides that talk about the differences and how we can build to become more entrepreneurial in walaupun is in the company. Okay. Like last but not least, develop your team for performance. The 3 key must know. Okay, how do you build your team for performance? Right, what are the key things you need to know? If these 3 key things are not there, you are going to have a problem. Are we okay here? Right, so you must build on these 3 things. You must keep on building on these 3 things. So every week, every Friday for the next 5 weeks, I will be having some kind of a talk. I may continue after that, depending on whether the time permits, because I am pretty busy these few weeks. But because I've already promised WKU that I'll be doing this, so I'm putting it out. Right? It's also a marketing event. So if you're interested in any of this course, right, let us know. Right? We will definitely get back to you. Now, on a note, right? This is me being nice. Okay, I'm just gonna give you my WhatsApp